Hello and welcome to CTV News Across Canada for Thursday, October 23rd. We've got the top local stories from coast to coast, stories that affect you and the country. Thanks for joining us.
Lily is 6 years old. Jack is, well, he's going to be 5 years old this month.
Belinda Gray can barely speak through the tears, describing the children she hasn't seen in years.
The last time they were here, they were still basically babies. Lily was 4. She was such a carbon copy of me. She copied everything I did. And Jack was more sober. He was just crawling around the floor, learning to walk.
It's been 2 years since Gray last held Jack and Lily Sullivan, and months since anyone has seen them at all.
Your grandchildren are what you leave this world. They're a part of you.
When Lily and Jack went missing, Gray says she joined the search herself.
We started working our way up through the woods along a brook. And then we crossed over the brook and we started coming back down through the woods.
For Gray, hope quickly turned to suspicion, especially after their mother left the area.
When I found out Malaya left, I knew there was no sense searching anymore. It started making me think, I don't think these babies wandered off.
She hopes police can bring her closer to the truth.
I hold them all accountable. I don't know how 2 kids can go missing.
RCMP say they combed through every possible lead, but Gray feels police could have acted faster.
I don't care what the criteria is for an Amber Alert. When you have vulnerable children missing, it should be an automatic alert.
Every day, Gray checks her phone, hoping for a message, a post, a headline, anything saying they've been found.
To see if there's any new family members coming out speaking. And that's off and on all day. That goes on right until I go to bed.
Along the 40-kilometer stretch in Lansdowne Station where 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan lived, cadaver dogs searched the woods and trails just a few weeks ago. RCMP say they came up empty-handed, but families say they're still holding out hope the children will be found soon. Hafsa Arif, CTV News, Upper Musquodoboit.
When fully operational, this first phase will provide up to 40 bridge housing units and support an estimated 1,200 individuals.
Amidst a citywide state of emergency, some good news for some of Barrie's homeless from inside the former paramedic bay on Tiffin Street. Barrie Cares, a community-led nonprofit organization, has teamed up with the county, the city, the CMHA, and several other local agencies to create a new temporary care center for those in need.
Barrie is a caring community, and today's announcement reminds us that progress happens when we work together with compassion, determination, and purpose.
The new temporary Barrie campus of care will be built next to the ambulance bay.
Not just a shelter, but a coordinated, compassionate system of care, one that connects people to recovery, housing, and hope.
The goal, a lofty one, to raise and spend $250,000 to equip the old ambulance bay with a kitchen, warming space, and urgent care service rooms for the winter months. With still more than 700 people experiencing homelessness and not using supports in Barrie alone, this center will have a focus on urgent, immediate needs with an eye on future requirements too. The next phase will include a permanent 30,000 square foot facility to be built by the end of 2028. It will eventually offer 50 full-time beds with 24/7 support.
We're looking for these notions of a campus, an area where someone can stay in one location and seek all the services and supports at one time. So they're mobile units, so it allows us to strategically place them where we need them, and then if that need changes, we can relocate them to other areas or locations throughout the county.
Okay. Now, I told the unit should arrive here in the city in the next week or so, and will likely take the better part of 6 weeks to set up and be functional. Rob Cooper, CTV News, Barrie.
Etched on their faces, the grieving drop off flowers for Savannah Kula.
It is tragic. She was such a good person and a good mom.
Friends and family identifying the victim of a daylight shooting in a Brampton parking lot as a 29-year-old mother of 4, 3 boys, and a baby girl who was the subject of an Amber Alert yesterday.
I saw the Amber Alert and I knew right away it was her daughter. And I had a gut feeling it had something to do with the shooting.
Today, Kula's family is reeling from their loss.
I can't believe it. Like, I woke up today like, where's my sister? And she's gone.
They also spoke of the conflicted relationship between the deceased and her accused killer, 38-year-old Anthony DeShepper.
She was in love with him. They met love at first sight, apparently. He was great for the first while. And while she was pregnant, and then afterwards, he just got worse and worse and worse.
She loved him, and then they were separated, and he just couldn't let it go.
Kula's mother says Savannah had struggled with her daughter's father for some time.
Oh, he was just phoning her 50, 60, 70 times a day. You know, he had cameras installed, and we didn't know. Just keep an eye on her.
Alleging he'd been stalking and harassing her.
And she just tried to get away from him, and she would go see him and say, you know, this is over, and that's what she did on the weekend.
Now her granddaughter's mother and father are both gone.
I'm sorry to say this, I'm glad he's gone, and mainly because now her ex was very afraid of those boys being around when he got, like, violent, right? Not violent, but when he got crazy. So now I know that we'll be able to have those 3 boys again with no problem, because he wouldn't have let us see them if he knew Anthony was on the loose.
Still, 4 children are now without a mother.
She was just such a good girl, you know. She was just, like, so excited to watch her kids grow, and she was a great mom, and, you know, they loved her so much.
3 little boys were asking where Mommy was last night.
Although Kula's family says they'll be doing what they can to support the children.
We have a lot of family members, so the babies will be okay. Kids will be okay.
Peel Regional Police have described the incident as an intimate partner-related homicide. Family described Kula as a former competitive dancer who was kind and selfless and utterly dedicated to her children. Children, they say, are all under the age of 6. Reporting live, I'm Janice Golding.
The lawsuit filed in Quebec targets more than 40 gaming companies, including Microsoft and Ubisoft. It alleges that mobile games aimed at children are collecting far more than just high scores. It's collecting their personal data. François Parizeau is the lead lawyer on the case.
The law in Quebec forces the companies to obtain legal consent from the parent or the tutor before collecting any personal information.
But Parizeau says their findings show that's not the case. He alleges gaming companies gather sensitive data without parental consent and then sell it to third parties. Law professor Thomas Burali, who was part of the research team involved in the request for the lawsuits, says it's a good thing these companies are being challenged.
But then, you know, like the old saying, when it's cheap or when it's free, you are the product. And with the data, it's exactly what is happening.
He says the data collected could include anything from their photos, email address, to even the child's location. It can also track their gaming patterns.
Sometimes it's very blunt and they say it's for marketing purposes. It's to give you targeted ads. So we need to know how you play. So we will give you like the exact ad you might fall for.
The lawsuit claims that these actions violate privacy rights protected under the Quebec Charter and is calling for the practices to stop. It's also seeking compensation.
We reached out to some of the gaming giants named in the lawsuit. Ubisoft declined to comment. Microsoft received our request but did not get back to us in time for broadcast. The lawsuit has yet to be approved and none of the allegations have been proven in courts. Sweeta Rassi, CTV News.
It was around 6 on Sunday morning when the rear of this home on Major Street, not far from Lancaster and Wellington in Kitchener, caught fire. The damage described as significant.
Through investigation, we determined that the fire was suspicious and has classified it as an arson.
At the time, fire crews were told one person may have been inside, but no one was found and no injuries were reported.
And I won't get into other things that were located in the unit, but I can say that there was nobody located inside the unit.
Now, Waterloo Regional Police say the tenant, 25-year-old Eli Woods, is missing.
We don't have any information to indicate that Eli Wood was involved in setting the fire or anything like that. We won't know that until we speak to them.
Police are appealing for tips, saying they want to check on Woods' well-being.
Anytime you have a significant fire like that and we're not able to locate the tenant that lives there, it causes some concern and some suspicion.
Police say Woods has partial white eyebrows and eyelashes and white hair, along with a flower and seahorse tattoo on the left forearm and a rainbow tattoo on the upper right arm.
Approximately 4'10", between the weights of 85 to 95 pounds.
Police say Woods lived in the rear unit of the home. The fire damage, pegged at around $500,000, was contained to that area. Regional police are urging anyone who knows where Eli Woods is to reach out. The Ontario Fire Marshal is also helping with this investigation.
It's persistent rain and heavy smoke. It is difficult to see the aftermath of a barn fire on Elm Tree Drive, southwest of Park Hill. It was noted by a neighbor around 7 a.m. The property owner immediately called 911. Responding North Middlesex firefighters could do little but contain it.
The barn was fully involved. There'd already been some collapse.
The worsening situation warranted calling in additional fire departments, including those from Lambton Shores and Kerwood. Multiple pumpers were needed to trek water from Arkona.
The challenge is the size of the barn and the extent of the fire when we arrived. There was really nothing that could be done other than protecting other buildings.
While no one was hurt, there was a large loss of pigs housed inside the barn.
I'm told it was over 3,000 of different size, yes.
The blaze was contained within 2 hours, but smoke continued to billow as heavy equipment moved in to get at hot spots. There is no damage estimate, but the chief anticipates the barn is a total loss. The cause has not been determined, but the Office of the Fire Marshal has been notified. In North Middlesex, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
On this quiet street, a gruesome discovery.
Woke up this morning, opened the blinds, and the police were here, and the lights flashing, and I found out that there was a deceased body at the end of the street.
A 21-year-old man found dead outside on Meadow Park Place Wednesday morning.
Disconcerting that this is going on right now, and we don't really know what's happening.
I have 2 young kids. It's a pretty scary reality. Makes me feel sad for whoever this is, his family as well.
The Ottawa Police Homicide Unit is leading the investigation.
It is being investigated as a suspicious death at this point.
Investigators going door to door, speaking with neighbors. They also want to speak with anyone who had been traveling on the Aviation Parkway or who saw pedestrians on the Aviation Pathway between 7 p.m. on October 21st and 7 a.m. on October 22nd.
If there's anyone out there that has any information about this incident, or if you have video footage either from a dash cam from a car or from a residence that would cover this area, last night into this morning, we would appreciate you reaching out to the Ottawa Police Homicide Unit.
An autopsy is being performed and the man's identity has not been released. Police are still notifying families.
Outside the Rogers Centre, the headquarters for so much joy the last few days. Everyone has a story of woe of being denied a coveted World Series ticket.
I was, I think, 138,000 in the queue for Game 6.
I wasn't able to get any. It's been crazy.
The tickets vanished in a flash. The resale market that took over.
Too expensive.
Fans have reported tickets listed for north of $25,000. That's what some Torontonians pay for rent in a whole year.
They need to do something about it. People shouldn't be making a business from reselling tickets. It just doesn't make sense.
The Premier has heard those frustrations and is considering changes.
My personal opinion, I got to talk to the whole team, but they're gouging the people. When you have one player in the market that controls the tickets, that's not right for the people. So we're actually reviewing that right now.
Doug Ford says he'll look at reviving a legislative move his government killed in its early days. It would cap the price for a resale ticket at 50% markup. In 2018, Ford's office said the measure introduced by the Liberals couldn't actually be enforced. But Blue Jays fans are giving this a standing ovation.
That's a really reasonable thing to do. It allows people to actually afford to come into games and shows that you want to be able to see.
That makes a lot of sense to me. Like, price gouging is out of control.
I think that's something good. I think the amount people are trying to make off other people, I think is unfair.
Opposition parties don't think the government should have shut down the anti-scalping measure in the first place.
The Ford government once again failed everyday people in order to align themselves with corporate interests.
We need the government to take action.
People expect their government to make sure there's fairness.
Fans are still willing to stretch their budgets to witness history.
800 max.
Yeah, for like the 500 seats.
But for now, they'll have to hope this is more than a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Navigating through Canada's tax system can be daunting for the average person.
Ever since I was old enough to do taxes, just always had someone else to do it.
I'm not knowledgeable enough, and I don't have a problem in saying that either.
And it appears even staff at the Canada Revenue Agency may not be as knowledgeable as they should be. Canada's Auditor General says over a 4-month period this year, they placed 167 calls to the CRA asking questions. Responses to business tax or general benefits questions were right just 54% of the time. And responses to general individual tax questions were only correct 17% of the time.
Canadians have to voluntarily fill out their tax returns. I think they should expect to reach CRA and get accurate information.
That was pretty astonishing in how low it was. Pretty disappointing to hear.
Morgan Marshall is with Community Financial Counseling Services. The organization helps low-income people with their taxes.
Tax filing is the doorway to benefits.
She says getting the wrong tax information and then making a mistake on your form could cost you in more ways than one.
It can just take a lot of mental bandwidth to deal with, and then there can also be repercussions to that if you get something paid out to you that you weren't actually eligible for.
The Auditor General also found most callers to the CRA waited an average of 31 minutes. The union representing tax workers on the prairie says staffing levels are an issue.
The agency has laid off so many employees, so many staff, especially in call centers, and they're like inundated.
I'm not prepared to say we're going to cut. I'm not prepared to say we're going to add. We're looking at it. We're going to make service better.
Jeff Keel, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Of paramount concern is the growing impact of overcrowding on patient safety.
Sarah Peters, along with hundreds of other healthcare workers at Royal University Hospital, is calling for immediate action to address overcrowding and hallway care in the emergency department.
We felt that we needed to pause and reflect on the current state of healthcare in Saskatchewan, and it's heavily reflected in what goes on in the emergency department.
She penned a letter to the province detailing the concerns, backed by 450 signatures.
The current direction and mandates and incentives that the government's doing is just not being as effective as we hoped it be.
Premier Scott Moe says the province is taking action to address healthcare concerns.
And I thank them for using their voice and raising these important issues. And what I would say is this very much parallels largely with what we've heard from Saskatchewan people over the course of the past year.
Health Minister Jeremy Cockrell says the main focus is recruiting and retaining healthcare workers.
What is going to help, I think, the most is making sure that, the incredible doctors and nursing and other staff across our system have more people on their team.
The Saskatchewan Union of Nurses says the province needs to act on the solutions outlined in the letter.
Kudos to the courage to speak up, and we're hoping to continue that conversation and make sure that there is a response with actual actions attached to it.
Peters says some solutions can be implemented immediately. She hopes the letter sparks change as everyone works towards a common goal.
We want to create change, and it very much aligns with what the government's mandate is. We're all about patient care. Everybody wants patient care to improve.
Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The throne speech comes in the midst of economic uncertainty created by American and Chinese tariffs.
Our government will continue to make every effort to work collaboratively with the federal government toward our shared goals of a strong and growing Saskatchewan within a strong and united Canada.
In outlining its plans for the year ahead, the government said it will introduce compassionate care legislation that would force a limited number of addicts into treatment.
Introducing legislation that will require individuals who may be a threat to themselves or others to enter into addictions program, ensuring that they get the help that they need while keeping our communities safe and secure.
The move has the support of some in the inner city who have witnessed the impact of drug addiction in the area.
There's all kinds of treatment centers out there for everybody, even people on alcoholism.
I think it would be a good idea to help them out and
assess them and see what really is the real problem with them, what they really need help with. It would benefit everyone because it'll take them off the streets. It would put them in the right direction.
The throne speech also promises to work with the Saskatchewan Rough Riders in developing a framework for tailgate parties at games.
Could we look at some enabling regulations in this space? And we thought, well, why not?
That idea has the support of many Rider fans.
Yeah, I mean, the more fans involved and coming to the games, all the better.
Yeah, I might go. I think it's okay. No problem.
Didn't totally enjoy a tailgate system. Kind of like, I think Calgary has it. A few other places have it, and that would be fun.
Over the months ahead, the government will also have to address the economic consequences of tariffs. The Premier says the impact will be felt on government finances, both federally and provincially. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
Carrie Forster has been on strike and away from her grade 1 classroom in Airdrie to demand changes in education.
So there's a lot of complexities. There's a lot of kids. We're doing body break and we couldn't even move properly. And I found that for a veteran teacher overwhelming.
She hopes that an agreement can be reached at the bargaining table before the province legislates an end to the strike and to justify her unpaid time spent away from her passion as a teacher.
Government wants to kind of brush it under the carpet and just mandate us back and not deal with it.
The Alberta Teachers Association says it's preparing for the government to legislate teachers back to work. The legislature resumes the fall session on Thursday. The union is already speaking with lawyers on how to respond. One sticking point for them is classroom sizes and the student-teacher ratio.
There's only 2 provinces in the whole country that doesn't have any kind of protections within a collective agreement around class sizes and student-teacher ratios.
One labor relations expert says he is watching closely to see what the union may do after legislation is tabled and whether teachers fall in.
And for the union, there's a risk that they might turn on the union, because their frustration's got to go somewhere. So it's either going to go up against the employer and the government, or it might go against the union. So if the union's wise, they would be channeling that anger towards the provincial government, which is probably not that hard.
The Alberta Federation of Labour says other unions under negotiations are also prepared to rally against the province.
They can't just use their legislative power to impose a contract without negotiation. That breaks the Constitution.
Legislation would likely pass through quickly, despite the NDP's plans to block it.
It violates their right to actually advocate for themselves and for their students and for their co-workers, and it doesn't solve the problem.